G'day guys, and welcome back on board U-96 as we depart from La Spezia on the 10th of June 1941 at 1100 hours AM, heading out to patrol sector CJ7 through CN2 around Tunisia, Sicily and Malta. Fairly close to our home port, but this is one of the main supply line routes from the Atlantic Ocean down towards enemy territory in Egypt. So we're hoping to come across a lot of merchant shippings, and if luck is on our side, maybe we will encounter a large convoy that contains some warships. So I'll just show you on the map here the patrol area that we're heading for. So it's to the north of Tunisia here, the west of Sicily, and all around Malta. So we'll get ourselves heading down in that direction right now. Okay, pretty foggy weather out here, so we're going to dive down the boat. We're nearly at the patrol sector, and we're going to get our guy here on our hydrophone to see if we can start picking up some enemy contacts. Okay, so we've entered the patrol zone here, so let's start getting our search on for some enemy shipping. Should be around the tip of Sicily there, in between there and Tunisia, around Malta. It's where we're going to be finding most of our enemies. Okay, so we've picked up a small convoy here. We've plotted the course, but they've temporarily gone out of our sight on the hydrophone for some reason. So we're just going to move in. And we'll stop the boat and we'll just wait until we pick them up. Okay, so they've ended up behind me somehow. I'm just going to plot a new course to try and move with them a little bit and get a good angle on them. So just going to put a mark down at the front of one of the boats here. Use a bit of time compression, and we're going to put another mark. And then I'm going to pull that line through. And that's going to be able to give us the angle of travel, or angle of bow. So pull that through a north-south line, which is right pretty close to where they are. That's cool. So just put that there, and then we'll pull a line through the north-south until that crosses that. Yep. And then we'll use our protractor, which will give us the right angle that we're looking for. So there we go, we've got the angle of bow now. So now we'll start closing. Okay, so we're looking at sort of a few Empire towers, Empire bells, those kind of ships. It's nothing major. Just gonna take the time, and when the back of the boat crosses the crosshair we press stop and set. Okay, we know the angle of bow there, just type that in, and we'll get the distance, recognize, all that good stuff. I won't bore you too much with it, you've seen it enough times by now if you've been watching from the beginning. Okay, we've got the distance there. Now we'll lock on to something else, start typing in some of their information. Okay, I'll let those ships separate themselves a little bit because it's just a little bit tricky to try and figure out things like the distance. It was too many boats in the periscope can confuse it. It's not accurate enough, so we just type in all the information again and just recheck their distances. So fire a torpedo off at this guy. Let's tube 1 flooding. And fire. And now we'll unlock, move around, lock onto the second boat here. Locked on. And 2 torpedoes. 1 torpedo. Yeah, one will be enough. 2. Okay. Tubes 2 and 3. Fire. And last but not least, 1 torpedo for this guy. Tube 4, fire. Okay, it looks like we missed with all of our torpedoes there for some reason. Must, I think, because we took the speed when they were all together. I think the game must have confused itself. So we're just going to close in here. They're all unarmed and not escorted, so we're just going to deck gun the crap out of these guys. Okay, so we're just going to try and make sure that we aim for the waterline. It's a little bit choppy and we're moving at speed here. We've got 3 boats here we want to take down with the deck guns. That's good to start at a fire. Get some extra damage happening. Hopefully she'll start taking on some water too. Get a shot in the front there. Okay, she's about halfway on the damage there. She is taking on water, but she's still going to need a few more shots into her. Back end's sitting quite low in the water. She's still got the propeller going, but I don't know if she's actually moving. She's probably very, very slow. A couple more shots and she should be done. And there she goes, she's off to the bottom. And this one here, same thing as before. Just gotta try and aim for that waterline. We're a little bit far away though. Just send that message off that we've sunk the other ship. Slow the boat down. Hopefully she'll close the gap a little bit. She shouldn't take too many shots this one. Yep, so she's already 3/4 of the way done. A couple more shots at the front or something. Or heavy listing. It's a shame we didn't get to see any explosions on this tanker, but we would have if we hit it with the torpedo, but we had to settle for a deck gun finish here. So she's on her way to the bottom. Then we'll move on to the third victim. Probably a little bit far away to be shooting at this one, but do what we can. We are closing in on them. Good shot of the back of the boat there. Sitting quite high up in the water at the moment. Gives us plenty to aim for. Just gotta keep aiming at the waterline. Just try and put some holes into her. I thought she would have had more damage on her than that. Just gotta keep shooting. She hasn't taken on a whole heap of water yet. Surely she can't take too much more of this. Still only more than 50% good health. I don't think I've been missing. Strange how the tankers take far less shots to sink than a little Empire Bell or Empire Tower, whatever it is. Tankers seem to go down with like 5 to 10 shots, whereas one of these boats can take up to like 20. Okay, is she gonna go down all by herself? Looks like she might need a couple more just in the front, just to give her that extra little bit. Make sure she goes down. Yeah, she's not quite going down all by herself, so a couple of more shots into the front of her and hopefully that'll do it. Okay, so we'll shoot the messages off to the BDU and we'll make sure we get the recognition for all of that. And we'll dive the boat back down to periscope. Let's begin hunting again. Okay, here we go. We've picked ourselves up another small contact of 1 to 3 ships close to Sicily. Looks like they're travelling in the direction towards Malta. So we're going to start closing in, mark their position and all that. Chuck down another mark there. This is just a rough guide of where they're heading. It's not an accurate representation of their position, but it gives us something to chase, something to line ourselves up with. So we'll try and overtake them, see if we can pull in front of them. There you go. Made contact, visual detection. Just seeing one ship here at the moment. This is C3 cargo. Put a mark on the front of the bow. Just let them move forward a wee bit, and we can put down a second mark. And there's another boat there coming behind. A pretty small boat, that one, so we'll just pull this line through that north-south line there to the west. Just pull that through so that we can figure out what their direction of travel is. It's a little bit different to that mark that we put down before. And we use the protractor here. Go down there, pull that across, and that gives us an angle of 116 degrees. Now we can jump into the periscope and start working out the rest of the solution. Just let them get a bit closer. So that looks like an NA1. Okay, so the C3 is definitely going to take a torpedo, maybe 2. So we'll want to figure out the speed of her. And then once the back of the boat goes through the crosshair, we'll press stop. Stop and set. And it's 6 knots. It's cool. And then we'll just quickly recognize that as a 100% a C3 cargo. And at distance, yeah, pretty close to 2,400 meters there. Just double checking the angle, 116. So that's ready for a couple of torpedoes. And we got here an NA1. So again, 116 degrees, 6 knots. Just work out the distance on that one. Okay, set that and recognize it. NA1.
Auf Seerohrtiefe.
There it is. Recognize that. It's ready for a torpedo. So we'll send a torpedo
Rohr 1
at us.
bewässern.
Tube 1 flood. Fire.
Los!
And now we'll swing around and lock back onto our C3 cargo here.
Rohr
She's
2
gonna take
bewässern.
two torpedoes.
Rohr 3 bewässern.
Tube 2, tube 3 flood.
Rohr 2 fertig.
Fire.
Rohr 3 bewässert.
Los!
Melde mich zum Dienst. Auf Seerohrtiefe.
Oh, right in the middle. Nice. And one at the front. And that should hopefully be enough to send that C3 down. Just keeping an eye on the NA1 in the background to see if we get a hit on that. Doesn't look like we're going to hit that NA1, but this C3's on her way down. That's good. So we'll just tidy up the map and start closing in on the NA1. Surprised that I missed that with the torpedo. Not doing very well with torpedo solutions right now. So yeah, we'll just surface the boat and go in and deck gun her. Just get the captain there to send off a message on to the BDU. Okay, we missed our first shot there. Pretty tough boat to hit. There's quite low. The deck's quite low to the water. Doesn't really show much of the hull. Just gotta pick our shots a bit carefully. We're bouncing all over the place. Smoke from the our gun doesn't make it any easier though, does it? Looks like the front of the boat's sitting quite deep in the water there. The back end's quite high. Hopefully we can just start a fire on board or something and get her down to the bottom ASAP.
Sie sinken.
Go, she's sunking. Okay, so we picked up another small contact here of 2 to 4 ships, so let's mark that on the map. Start closing in. It looks like they're also heading on a. Look like they're heading east towards Malta. Okay, so we're closing in now. It says we're quite close. Got one boat here in detection. It just looks like another Empire something or other. This guy's not quite in in view yet. Yep, and another Empire, maybe Empire tower. Oh, and a tanker as well. Perfect.
Kurs auf diese Koordinaten setzen.
Zu Befehl.
Okay, so we'll start working out the solution for this tanker here. We've got its angle of bow already. And we're just going to take the speed here. Front of the ship through my crosshair. Okay, and start the clock. And when the back of the boat gets through my crosshair again, that's when we press stop and stop, set. Okay, now we'll check a distance. We'll line the crosshair up with the waterline and the top of the mast to the bottom of that ship. It's about there, set, and recognize this boat. Looks like a Dale class, maybe.
Rot
She's
2,
definitely going to take a couple
bewässern.
of torpedoes. Maybe just the one.
Rot 2.
One might be enough. Perfect, right in the middle. And a secondary explosion on the deck. That's exactly what we need. And another explosion. Hopefully this is going to be enough to send her down. I'll just sit here for a second and watch. And now fire on the front of the ship as well. Oh. And the firework display as well. Perfect. That looks like she's done for. Okay, now we're going to surface the boat and we're going to chase down these other two Empire, whatever they are.
Schwere
And
Schäden
we'll use
am
a deck
Rumpf.
gun on those guys.
Tanks anblasen.
Just got to be careful here with the ammunition of the deck gun. We are running quite low. Should really be trying to get much closer than this to take these shots. Yeah, so we ran out of ammo on the deck gun there. Well, we didn't run out, but we don't have much left, and we still have one more boat to take out, so we're just going to finish this one off, which is more or less dead in the water. Just going to use the anti-aircraft gun here. Maybe we can turn her into a sieve. Not the most conventional way of using a submarine to sink shipping, but got to use what's available to you, I suppose, when you're short of torpedoes, because you want to find a convoy. You got to use what you can. So just going to use the high explosive ammo here to try and start a fire on
Feuer
board.
an Deck.
There we go. We might just need to use some more armor piercing if that fire doesn't cause enough damage for us.
Wir haben ihn.
So I've only got 11 shots left on my my deck gun here to try and sink this ship. So it might be in a similar situation as before, where we might need to whip out the anti-aircraft gun again, just to make sure she goes down.
Feuer on deck.
There we go, we've got a fire on board, that's good. Damage is looking alright. Don't have many shots left though, only 2. Got to make them count. I guess we're going to have to close in and really see if we need to use a deck gun again. Maybe she looks like she might go down all by herself. Hopefully. You never know. If you're looking at that bar there, it looks like she's got no more health and just needs to take on more water to make sure she goes down. We'll keep closing in anyway. Yep. So she's not going to go down by herself, so I'm just going to have to fire a few rounds at her. Maybe we can start another fire on the deck, or just put another hole inside of it. Make sure she goes down. Okay, so we flawlessly put down those 2 ships there with the deck gun and the flak gun. Now we'll get our messages sent off to BDU and we'll continue patrolling our patrol area here, and we'll try and seek out another convoy. Okay, so we found ourselves another lone ship here out just next to Malta. Looks like it's just left the port of Malta, so we're going to plot an interception course. Depending on what ship it is, we're just going to use the deck gun to send it down. We really want to save what torpedoes we have left, just in case we do stumble across a convoy of 10 or more ships. So we'll start working on this one right now. So it's just another Empire Bell or whatever. It's nothing fancy, nothing too flash. We'll just slow the boat down here so that we're not bouncing all over the place. Get as close as we can, conserve some ammo. Got a couple of guys reloading the gun as we speak. Ammo is a little bit of an issue. Do have some in storage though. Well, here goes. Actually ended up overtaking the boat. Let's just stop. Plenty close enough to pump her full of shells. Running very low on ammo, but as you see there, here comes our guy with a backpack of shells. But we're pretty much launching them quicker than he can reload them. She's listing hard. She's front ends in the water quite a bit. Shouldn't take too much more of these shells, but that's us out of high explosive ammo now, so I think we're going to have to jump up onto the flak gun again, I think. Just to make sure she goes down.
Schneller, schneller!
So we managed to send her down, but really hoping that we can cruise around and find something a lot more substantial than just picking off these 1 or 2 little ships. It's not really going to do it for me, I think. Okay, so I've only got 4 torpedoes left, so we do have to be careful with what we do. So I think we're gonna head back up towards home, and hopefully we can pick up another convoy or something along the way. This is a bit more promising. Found ourselves a convoy here of 3 to 6 ships. Hopefully it's the latter of that and not just 3. Would be good to sink some more using our torpedoes. Okay, we got visual detection of the convoy here. Looks like 3 ships at the moment. Oh no, it is 4 ships. That's cool. So now we can start maybe trying to plot a course. We'll put a mark on the front of this one. And we'll just speed up a bit of time here. And then we can remark it and start working on the angle of their travel. Slow our boat down as well so we don't end up crashing into them, getting too close. So I think we'll leave that there, put another mark on the front. And we'll grab the ruler, pull that line through point to point. They're pretty much right on a north-south line there. That's perfect for us. So we can draw our north to south line and use our protractor there to figure out that angle so that we can start typing that in when we look through the periscope. So we've got an angle of 117 there. Okay, so we just need to have a look at what we're dealing with here. Looks like a little Empire Bell or something with a tanker and a C3 in the background. So we'll try and work out the speed of the convoy. Okay, so we got the speed of the convoy here, but I don't know how accurate that's going to be as they're all in one big blob on the periscope here, but we've got a little bit of info that we can get off each ship here. We can recognize some of them. So we've got a C3 cargo at the back there. We know that for a fact. The convoy is moving at 6 knots if we go off that front Empire Bell, but not too sure about that. Might have to double check that as we proceed. We know that we've got a tanker in the background as well, in front of that C3 cargo. Just take a rough guesstimate of their range here, but I will definitely reassess that when they get closer. So it looks like another Dale class, I think. We'll just type in what we know at least. It's the angular bow and the speed. And we'll recognize it. I'm pretty sure it's a Dale class. Dale class, Dale class. Yeah, I think that's about all the information I can gather from the convoy at this time, just while they look like that. So I think I'm just going to have to readjust our position on the map, or just let a bit of time go by and then they can all move forward and get some space in between themselves before we do a final solution here. Okay, this looks much better. We've got a free view of this tanker here, so we can just double check all of our workings out here. So we'll start with the range.
Auf Seerohrtiefe.
There. Yeah, we'll just double check this range of the C3 cargo here as well. So top of the mast to the bottom of the boat. Perfect. Okay, and now we want to double check the speed of the convoy here. So the front of the boat through the crosshair is when you want to start your watch. And the back of the boat through the crosshair, stop and set. Okay, so it's changed from 6 to 5 there. So I'm just going to readjust the speed here on this tanker here from 6 to 5 knots as well. And then I think both of these ships are going to probably take 2 torpedoes each maybe. Just to make sure we sink those, and then we might have to jump on the deck gun as well and finish off whatever else is in this convoy. That's tubes 1 and 2. Fire. And we'll zoom in on this tanker and we'll send tubes 3 and 4. Club those 2 tubes. So tubes 3 and 4. Fire.
Jawohl. 30 Sekunden.
Okay, good. We took the time to work it all out properly and we've managed to do a successful torpedo attack. Probably looked worse than it was on that tanker there from all the after explosions. But good, we got 2 hits here on this C3 as well, so hopefully that'll be both of those dealt with. And I think we're going to surface up the boat here and try and close in on the other 2 escorts that are with it, and we'll probably just use the deck gun of those, maybe even the flat gun if we're feeling a bit fancy again. So this is looking pretty good. That tanker's already well on her way to going all the way down, and same with the C3 here. A good torpedo attack there. Yeah, so we're closing in on these Empires, and we've got a little bit of deck gun ammo available for us. We've got 24 rounds, so we've got to try and make the most of those. Don't really want to be using the flat gun to sink enemy shipping. It's kind of makes me look like a bit of an amateur having to do that. But you just got to use what's available, I suppose. So that's just the usual technique here with the deck gun, just trying to aim for the water line, trying to put a few big holes in the back of a boat, maybe start a fire if we can with the high explosive ammo here. Perfect. I think there's a fire on board, so that's going to help to increase the damage and the rate that the boat's going to sink at. So we just got to make sure we get a few more holes in her. Make sure we do a good job of getting her down the bottom. Looks like the arse end of their boat there is sitting pretty deep into the water. So we might move around to the front, try and finish her off. Okay, we should probably turn our attention to the other ship here. Start popping off a few shots if we can.
Sehr wohl, Herr Kaloi. Wir haben ihn. Sie gehen unter.
Yeah, so that last boat managed to go down without too much of a fight, so hopefully we can achieve something similar with this one, and just a few shots into the bow and the stern on the waterline, and you know the score. Just send her to the bottom. That's all that matters. We've caused a little bit of damage to this boat, but we're running quite short of ammo again on the deck gun here, so 2 more shots into the back of her, and I think it looks like we might be here having to jump back up onto our trusty anti-aircraft gun and finishing her off with that. Here we go with the captain. We'll get a few shots popped off with this. Okay, that's all it's going to take.
Feuer an Deck.
Better to be safe than anything. Just fire a few more into her for good measure, why not? And with that, I think we're pretty much out of torpedoes and we're pretty much out of all types of ammo, so I think it might be a slow cruise back towards our home port.
Zeit für eine Pause.
Kurs setzen.
So we'll just talk to our leading officer here back inside the port, see if we get any rewards, any levels up. Okay, got some good experience there, but not enough to level us up. So it wasn't too bad of a mission, I suppose. We managed to sink 78,500 tons of cargo ships, and we 15 days, 23 hours at sea, travelled 42,000 kilometres. Managed to sink quite a lot of ships there, even if it was for the deck gun and the flak gun. But I guess it is what it is, and hopefully next time we'll be a little bit more successful. So thanks for watching, and like and subscribe.